Eric has assigned the task of determining how many odd 4-digit numbers there are. Now, this next little sentence is not going to be told to you on the diploma. He has been told that the number such as 5267 is a 4-digit number, whereas 02, like, they're not going to remind you of that, okay? They're not going to say, oh, the first number can't be a 0. They're not going to say that. They're just going to say, how many odd 4-digit numbers are there? So, remember, each blank represents what? When I draw a blank, I mean what? There's one item there, correct? So only 1-digit number can go in there. So the number 10 can't physically go in that, because that would be 2 1-digit numbers, right? So 0 and 9 can fit in blanks, but nothing higher and nothing technically lower can be over blanks. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we need all 4 of these digits to make the 4-digit number? Yes. So we need this one and this one and this one and this one. So you have to make sure you put multiplication dots, okay, guys? That's going to be your biggest problem, especially if you're someone who doesn't like writing things. You're going to think you can drop those off, or you just will drop them off, and then you actually don't have a correct answer. I'd have to take off marks because you're not showing me the operation of math that you're doing, right? You don't put the dots. You just have the blanks. So we have to deal with restrictions first. We agree? There are 2 restrictions on this being odd and 4 digits. What are my 2 restrictions? Yeah.
The 1-digit place has to be 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. So
the ones that, oh my gosh, you're talking, okay, yes, the last digit.
Yeah, last digit. Sorry, I don't know.
No, that's exactly correct. I just wasn't getting, I was like, but yeah, if I put a decimal back here, that is the 1's digit. I've never had someone call it the 1's digit. It's completely correct. My brain wasn't with you. But that was because you were excessively smart there for a second. So now I hold you to a standard, and don't suck for the rest of the year. All right, so this is going to be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is true. Is there another restriction? Yeah.
First number can't be 0.
Yeah. The first number can't be 0. Now, does it say anywhere in here that I cannot repeat? If it doesn't say I can't repeat, I assume I can. The only time you can't repeat is if it literally says you can't repeat, or you're given a word. Like if you're given the word popple, I don't know why I really keep going with popple. Actually, I do know why. So, if I use popple, I would only have P-O-O-P-P-L-E, correct? So I would have 3 P's, not an unlimited amount of P's. So whenever you're given a word, you can have repetition, but it's only how many letters are in that word, okay? So they don't have to say, the P's don't repeat themselves more than 3 times. They'll just give you the word popple, okay? All right, so we have to deal with restrictions first. It doesn't say we can't repeat, so we can, right, Kat?
Yeah.
So, okay. So I can start at the front or at the back, it doesn't really matter. But I have 5 options because we talked about this when I'm going to do this here. Does that mean I left a 5 in that blank? When I put that 5 above, does that mean that there's actually a 5 there? No, that's the number of options. We agree? Okay. Then this one has 1 to 9. 1 to 9 is how many options? There's 9. Does that mean I left the 9 there? No, it means I have 9 options. The blank means I'm choosing 1. The bottom says these are the options I have to choose from, correct? Underneath is how many I have to choose, or what I'm choosing from. I'm choosing 1 number. This is how many I'm choosing. Okay, in the middle, is there any restrictions? No, so I can use 0 to 9. And then this is where little Crystal Wagner had problems. Because my teacher put 10s up here. And that bothered me, because I was like, you told me I can't put double digits in the blank. Am I putting a 10 there, is the question. No, I'm not putting a 10 there. I didn't comprehend that. I thought he was putting a 10 there. I'm not putting a 10 there. That's 10 options. We agree? So I'm not actually physically putting, this number isn't 9, 10, 10, 5. That's not the number. The number could be any version of 1 to 9 first, 0 to 9, 0 to 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is just how many options I have to multiply to make those tree diagrams, right? This would be an awful tree diagram. Think about it. I would have 9 numbers, then off of each of those 9 numbers I'd have 10 branches. Then off of each of those 10 branches I'd have 10 more branches. Then off of those 10 branches I would have 5 more branches. Like, that would be terrible if you have to draw that. So if we multiply those together, we have 4,500 or 4,500 distinct odd 4-digit numbers. And distinct means different. You could just tell them apart, right? And that's if you can repeat. Now here it says Eric has been assigned the task of determining how many odd 4-digit numbers there are with no repeating digits. So this matters. When I see no repeating, I use the method that I call box and hold. So whenever I'm not allowed to repeat, I box and hold. And if I was using a word, like winner, let's say, I would box and hold because you only have a limited number of letters. You have W, an I, 2 N's, an E, and an R, right? So when you use one up, it's boxed, it's held. With words, you're not allowed to repeat the W the whole way along, okay? So here we have 4 blanks. We still have to start with our restrictions first. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or 0. Can't be 0. So I'm going to start with the back. How many options do I have in the ones digit? How many do I have? 5. Now, this is the thing I have to do. I have to think, okay, I now can't repeat. So I have to box and hold one of them. Does it matter which one I box and hold? No. But whatever one you box and hold, you just can't use in your next number. Right? So it doesn't matter which one you choose. You can choose the 1, 3, the 5, the 7, or 9. It doesn't matter. I'm lazy, so I always pick 1 or 9, because then I do a little arrow thing there. So I'm going to pick 9 and box and hold it. So now I'm pretending 9 is there. 9 doesn't have to be there. It could be the 1, the 3, the 5, or the 7, but I pretend to box and hold one of them, so that when I go to the next one, I can't use it. Right? So now instead of 1 to 9 here, what are my options? 1 to 8. So I have 1 to 8 here, which is 8 options. Now get ready. I'm going to box and hold one of them. It doesn't matter which one, correct? So I'm going to box and hold the 8. Here's where the error happens in this next one. I have 1 to 7. So people will say 7. What's the catch? Yeah, someone speaking. Okay. 0 can come back. 0 was never used in the first one, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 0 couldn't be used in the next one, right, because it would be the first digit. We have to remember to bring that 0 back, and everyone forgets to bring this back. So the answer that they'll give is 8765. That's not actually the correct answer. Will 8765 answer be there? Absolutely it'll be there, and sometimes it's picked more than the correct one. It's wrong. So you have to remember 1 to 7, yes, but the 0 comes back. I couldn't use it here. I couldn't use it here. I can use it here, so I have to bring it back. So it's actually 8. Then I can box and hold either the 1 to the 7 or the 8, or the 0, I mean. So I have 1 to 7. So now I have 7. Everyone forgets. So I star that, and then I star this, because then I remember why I'm starting it. Just remember to bring that 0 back. Everyone forgets. Yeah.
But we cannot use the odd numbers again, right? 1, 3, 5, 7.
You can, because you're only getting rid of one of them. You're not using all of them in that blank. So you're either using the 1, 3, the 5, the 7, or the 9, and we chose to hold the 9. If you chose to hold the 7, that would have been fine. You would just have 1 to 6 and 9 here, which is still 8 options. If you held the 1, then you'd have 2 to 9, which is still 8 options, right? Okay, we're going to go ahead for 1 second to the next page. Oh, that's all from yesterday. So we're going to here, example 9. I usually wait for it, but I'm going to pick you up right now. So, it says, how many even, still Eric doing this, how many even 4-digit numbers are there? I want you to try that one out. Even 4-digit. Does it say I can't repeat? No, so I'm allowed to. So do I have to box and hold it all? No. So try that one out. If we look at the first dot, even digit numbers, and there's nothing about repetition not being allowed, is you can have a 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 at the back, which is still 5. Then here you could still have 1 to 9. Can't have 0, which is still 9. And then here you have 0 to 9. So you have the exact same amount of even and odd digit 4 numbers if you don't deal with anything repetition-wise, which makes complete sense, right? To have the same amount of even and odds. This one gets done poorly, once again. The odd one gets done poorly because people forget to bring that 0 back into that second position, right? You get in like a nice pattern, 1 to 8, 1 to 7, and just keep flowing. This one is done poorly because people think you can do it in one case, okay? Now, I want to show you what it looks like in one case. It would be wrong, and most people will do it this way, but I want to show you. So if you try and do it in one case, you have this 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. And I want to show you why one case isn't going to work. Because we have to box and hold, you can't repeat. You agree? So, let's take it this way. I'm going to pay really close attention because if you can understand this, you will rock this on every single question. If you can't understand this, you're going to hate this question and never do it right. Okay? So let's pay attention. If I box the 0, that means the 0 is out as an option, correct? For the first blank. So what's my first blank options then? 1, 2, 9, right? If the back number is a 0. All right. What if it is a 2? What are my options? 1. Well, I did this last. 1, not 2, and then 3 to 9. We agree? So this one results in how many? 9 as my first blank options, correct? This one results in how many options? 8. So can I do this in 1? If 1 results in a 9 and 1 results in an 8? No. So I have to pick all the cases where that first blank would result in an 8, do them together. Then all the cases where that first one results in a 9 and do them together. Okay? So if I picked the 4, I would still end up with 8, correct? If I picked the 6, I would still end up with 8. If I picked the 8, I would still end up with 8 options. We agree? So I have to do it in 2 cases. I have to do it in one case where the red option is the only option, and then I have to do the second case where these are the only option. Because if I pick the green ones, if I pick 2, 4, 6, or 8, it doesn't matter. I'm going to end up with 8 options in the front, correct? But if I box and hold the 0, I end up with actually 9 options in the front. So I have to do them in separate cases. Does that make sense? So that's why I drew the double blanks here. So one of my options at the back will just be 0. And the only reason why it's just a 0 is that's the only one that will still result as 9 options at the front. Or, and remember if I say or I add, because and I multiply or I add, that's why we're adding cases always, because I have this case or I have this case and I'm not going to multiply them. This one, I have 2, 4, 6, or 8. If this makes sense to you, the 2 cases, you'll always do this question correct. Does this make sense to you why I split them as 0 and then a 2, 4, 6, 8? The 0 gets me a 9 options in my first blank. The 2, 4, 6, 8 will get me 8. Also, the 2, 4, 6, 8, you have to remember to bring back the 0. So there's the catch on the 2. So we'll do this one separately first. So say I have a 0 back here. I only have one option. I box and hold the 0. We agree? Now the 0 is used up. I don't have to try and remember to bring it back because I used it. It's done. Then here I have 1 to 9, which is 9 options. Hold the 9. Then I have 1 to 8. In the last one, I have to remember to bring back the 0. Do I have to remember to bring back the 0? No, I've used it. So now it's 8. And I hold the 8, then 1 to 7. So 7. So I've done that one. Does that make sense? 1 to 9, 1 to 8, 1 to 7. If you held something other than the 9 and the 8, you just have different numbers, but they'll still result in 9 options, 8 options, 7 options. Yep.
Why is the 0?
Because there's only one option. Just the 0. Like I'm only allowing myself to pick just the 0. So remember, below you list what the option is. The line means I'm picking one number, and then above you list how many options are below it, which is only 1. Then this one here, I list my options. I have 2, 4, 6, or 8. So this time I actually have 4 options, and I can hold whichever one I want. I'll hold the 2. You could hold the 4, the 6, or the 8. It doesn't matter, right? You just can't list it in the next option. So I'm going to hold the 2. Then here I have 1, comma, 3 to 9. Still can't have a 0 here, though, right? Some people say, why can't I have a 0 here? Because 0 results in a different thing. That's why we did a separate case for it, right? 0 results in a 9 at the front. 2, 4, 6, or 8 results in 8 options at the front. Now I'm going to hold the 1 for convenience. So I have 3 to 9 here, and everyone will put 7. But what do I have to remember? Bring that 0 back. So there's 2 places where you make oopsies on this question. You forget to do 2 cases, first off. And then second off, you do the 2 cases and you forget to bring the 0 back and let's do the bigger case. Because it's just an easy oopsie, right? So remember, you have to bring the 0 back here. So it's actually not 7 options, it's 8. Good, I hold the 0 now, 3 to 9, 7. When you type that in, what do you get? Anyone type it in? 2744. 2296. 2216?
2296.
96? Okay. Did someone else get that? Now, you want to know what's cool about your calculators? The coolest thing about your calculators is they always follow BEDMAS. They're forced to follow BEDMAS. So, no matter what, they will do brackets first. So if you ever want something done first, put a bracket around it. It has to be done. Your calculator is a BEDMAS function. That's what it is. So when you type in 3 times 7 minus 2, it'll go 3 times 7 then minus 2. So if you wanted the minus 2 to happen first, you just put it in brackets, right? So if I wanted to put this all in and I wanted to guarantee my math, I could just go technically like this into my calculator. And then I would know for sure it's going to do it right. Now it should anyways, because it follows BEDMAS, so it should do the multiplications and then add, correct? But I don't like banking on my calculator doing what it needs to do. I want it to know that it's doing what it needs to do. So I will bracket, because if I bracket it, it's immediately doing it. It has to. Your calculator follows BEDMAS. It's the greatest thing ever. Okay? So it has to do brackets first. Okay, let's go back. Did that make sense, that question? I would have started. I didn't start it, but I would start it. I did start it. Look at me. And then I would start this. And I would start this. And then I would start this. Because those are the things where people go oopsieing. Remember last time into class, you're going to write down all the things you need to remember off the thing that you forget? Because you will look through your notes and you'll bypass things quickly. But if you have a little short, you're still going to have to go through all your notes to study, don't get me wrong. But if you have a short little synopsis of the things that you made oopsies on while you did the notes, that's something you'll look at more. You won't make those oopsies because you're going to see it all the time. Oh, right, I have to remember to do this. Oh, right, 2 cases. Oh, right, I have to bring that 0 back. Correct? So your little summary sheet in your book, if you have a book, or on a sheet if you don't have a book, might look different than someone else's. My suggestion to you is always put down the things that you're starring. So sometimes you'll do something in the thing and you'll be like, oh, I would have totally done this. I'm going to make a mistake there. So I star it, and that's something I write down. Because just because you'd make a mistake doesn't mean someone else would. And someone else might make a mistake somewhere else that you wouldn't. So whenever I do the questions myself and I go, oh, I wouldn't have done that, I would have done it wrong, I star those and that's what I write in the book. Remember this, remember this, remember this, right? Because you see it enough, you'll stop making the oopsies. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, we have the word English. When we have words, we visualize them as Scrabble tiles. Oh, you're so prepared. So ill-prepared today. Don't know your names. Stephanie with the great glasses. All right. I can do this off the whim. All right. We have the word English. Watch me. Oh, I like stickies. Change my plan. We have the word English. See, if you're at home right now and watch this, you're not going to get this. This is only for you here at home. At home, at school. You're not at home. Might wish you were at home. English. E. Oh. That doesn't work with these big stickies. I can't make it stick and show aggressively how great this works. Because I have to do this. Okay. I'm wrecking my really nice stickies. It's okay. I have 3 classes of this. I will use these later. L. Can you see this even? Or are these really faint? I. Just forgot how to spell English. Pray for me. S. Ooh, sure. H. Hey, that's what I got. English. See it? Do I have an unlimited amount of E's? Nope. Do I have an unlimited amount of N's? How about a G? I, S, H? No. So when we get to words, this is what my suggestion is going to be to you. We are always going to check if there's repeating letters. Does English have any repeating letters? No, we're not dealing with repetitions till tomorrow, so it doesn't. And none of our words today will. Oh, that bird is flaunting it singing. Look at it. I can't sing, so that's why I think it's flaunting it. It's fine. Okay, so we have English. It's sitting in front of our faces here at home. I'm going to call it home because I'm going to talk to that bird. Girl, please, stop it. Okay, so we have English. That's all we got, right? So when I do wow, course outline just popped up aggressively because I probably hit it with my hair. Okay, so if I were to assign, don't write this, but if I had like 4 blanks, you're not doing this, I'm just proving to you that it's not an unlimited amount of E's, okay? English has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters, we agree? So people will say, okay, well I could have English here. So 7, then I could have all the words again, 7, then I could have all the words again, 7, then I could have all the words again, 7. Is that true? No, it's like a Scrabble tile. The moment you use, you're boxing and holding all these, because the moment you use it, it's done. So anyone watching this is going to suck for them, because I'm not going to show it the way that it is. Okay, so we have English. Now look here. So I have English. I have 4 blanks. I need my marker. So this one here says, consider the number of distinguishable 4-letter arrangements. You have to watch yourself. Sometimes they arrange the whole word English. Sometimes they arrange 4 letters of it. People will bypass the 4 letters and always arrange the whole word. So you have to make sure you do not skip over anything. Anything on a test or on a diploma is there for a reason. They don't put any extra words. There's not like sneaky words in it. You don't have to feed through it. If it's there for a reason. If it's not there for a reason, they pull it off the diploma when we do diploma validations and stuff like that. Or when we put the diplomas together. So when given a word, it is assumed you only have the letters contained in that word. They're not going to say that to you. Once again, that's just me telling you that. So determine the number of distinguishable 4-letter arrangements of the word English if any letter can be in any position. So I'm going to do this here and then I'll show it on the board after. Bird's going to get really annoying really quick. Okay, so for the first blank, how many letters do I have? 7. I have all of these. I would literally take them and I would place them all underneath, right? I'm going to show it on the board without papers after, but it makes more sense with papers at first. So poof, I put them all down here. Which one do I want to keep there? So I'm going to keep E here, because in my letters over there, I'm going to box and hold it. We agree? So I have 7 here, options, because these would all be laid down here, right? Put the E there. Okay, this one. How many options do I now have? 6. Which one am I keeping?
G.
And because I'm boxing and holding it, because I don't have an unlimited amount of G's, I have to box and hold every single time I get a word. Words don't say I can't repeat. You just have the word Scrabble tile. You only have that many, right? Okay, then what about this one? Which one do I want to keep?
S. It was close. Eggs.
You could have spelled eggs or eggs or like eggs wouldn't have worked. Good luck, guys. Okay. And 5, and then we say we keep an I there, eggly. There, happiness. 4. Okay, there's going to be leftover letters you don't use. So when we do this without papers, because we're probably not going to pull up papers the whole time, we would go like this. Here, if you want it, and I do this at first, but then after I don't write these all out because it takes a long time. So I say, okay, for the first blank, I have E-N-G-L-I-S-H, because I can start anywhere, because there's no restrictions, right? So this one has 7 letters. Then I box and hold. And I box and hold something because, why? I don't have an unlimited amount of these letters, right? If you say it's 7, 7, 7, 7, you're never laying a letter down. You're saying, okay, I have all 7. Okay, then I take them all with me. And then I go to the next blank. I've left nothing there. I put all 7 down. You're infinitely doing this and never producing a word. That's what you're doing. Like putting all 7 down, picking all 7 up. Putting all 7 down, putting them up. It's like a Scrabble tile, right? You have to lay one down. So you have to box and hold. So then here I would have E-N-G-L-I-S. So I would have 6. So I keep the S. Then I would have E-N-G-L-I, which is 5. Keep the I, E-N-G-L. which is 4. 840. It's 42 times 20. The next one says the first letter must be an E, so we have to deal with that first. Don't forget your dots. Check and check and check and make sure you have multiplication dots. If you don't, go back, put them in. And if you're someone who keeps forgetting them, it's going to be a problem. You're going to keep forgetting, so you have to go back and put them back in, okay? So the first letter, yeah? You could do X's, but X's get confusing with letters sometimes. But you can do them. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You just have to show that you multiply. So this one here would be an E, and then I box and hold it. But I only have one option, right? And for the next one, I have all the rest. So N, G, L, I, S. So 6. Box and hold. Then 5. Then 4. Like, you don't have to list them all once you start figuring it out. But sometimes it's helpful just at first to start listing them and boxing and holding until you get that pattern so you know what you're doing when you need to do that. So words you always do. I want you to try C and D. Hint, D has cases. So that or cases. So try C and D.
Sometimes Y's.
No, sometimes Y's in math. Because you need to actually know what word it is in order to have a Y, right? Because Y only involves itself as a vowel if there's no other vowels. So, you wouldn't know, right? So,
I had a question.
I haven't actually seen them do it. And if they do, they have to specify. But I think they surely avoid it for that very reason. If they ask about vowels. They could give a Y if they ask nothing about vowels because it wouldn't matter, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what are my vowels in English? E and I, bless you. So the first and last letters. So we have 2, hold 1, 1, hold 1. And then how many do I have left? I have N, G, L, S, H. So 5. Hold 1, 4. So it's going to be 40. The catch with the last one is said the word must contain a G. It doesn't say it has to start with a G. It doesn't say it has to end with a G. It just says it must contain a G. Right? So if it must contain a G, it could start with a G. The second letter could be G. Third letter could be the G. Or the fourth letter could be the G. So we would have these are all multiplied if I need all of them to get it. And you can say this case, or this case, or this case, or this case, right? Or can I ask? Okay? So I could start with the G here, which would be 1. And then I would have how many letters left? 6, 5, 4. Or I could put the G here, which is 1, 6, 5, 4. Or I could put the G here, 1, 6, 5, 4. Or I could put the G here, which is 1, 6, 5, 4. Ultimately, you probably start seeing a pattern. They all add up to 120, correct? So I could go 120 plus 120 plus 120 plus 120, or I could say, hey, I have 120, and I have 4 spots where they're going to fit, right? So I could just go 120 plus 120 plus 120 plus 120, or I could say 120 times 4 of the exact same cases, and it gets me 480. Either way, you get 480. Yeah.
On a question, do we have to write out all 4 of those lines, or can we just write one line and then go times 4?
Absolutely. 1 line times 4, because you're just showing there's 4 cases. Yeah. It would absolutely work. I always just show the cases at first for you guys to see that there's actually cases. Not just times 4 and then half class like, I don't know why I should times by 4, but I'll just do it. And then I give you a word that has 5 letters and you're like timesing by 4, which you should times by 5 then if you have 5 letters, because you have 5 spots, right? Okay. Go, oops, back to here. So this one here says, James wants to travel from Pitland to St. Luke's. How many different routes can that happen? So Pitland to St. Luke's, he wants to go from here. I should use a different color. Here to here. Now, always try and make it make sense to you. What the heck is this? Well, I could go from Pitland to St. Luke's and pass through this Q. And then, or I could go from Pitland to St. Luke's and pass through this R. Now we have to decide, is it and or? Could I do P through Q to S and P through R to S when I'm driving? Or would I do P through Q to S or P through R to S? When you're driving, would you do both or would you do either or? You would do or, right? If you did both, you would be like, okay, I'm going to go this way and I'm going to go this way. But why? You're going to transport yourself back to P and then do the other way just because it's fun? Like you want to see all the routes? Or like, it's an or, right? So if it's an or, you're going to do the top case or the bottom case. So what are you going to do with cases always? Add them because it's or. I'm doing this or I'm doing this. We agree? Now let's visualize this as a fundamental counting principle. We have two parts that make a whole. We have two parts on the bottom that make the whole trip, correct? So these are my two parts that make the top trip. So I would have one blank. I'm taking one path from P to Q, correct? And then I'm going to take one path from Q to S, right? So that blank means I'm picking one path. You're not picking both paths. You're not going to go to Q, back to P, then back to, like, you know what I mean? You're going to pick one of those paths. So the line represents picking one path. Above it, I always list how many options I have, right? That's what we've been doing the entire time. So how many options do I have to take one path from P to Q? How many options? 2. Then from Q to S, how many options? 3. This blank says I'm taking one of them, right? But I have 3 options. We agree? So the top paths, I have 6. And if you were stuck, you could add them. You could literally draw them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like you could literally find them, right? Problem is, if it's a word problem, you're not explaining anything, you're not getting any marks. Just something else. Okay. The bottom one, I have one path that I'm choosing from P to R, and then I have to pick one path from R to S. How many options do I have from P to R? 3. So I list that above. 3 options. However, I'm only choosing one. That's what that line means, right? 3 options, picking one. This one I have one option, taking it. That's all I have, right? So how many paths do I have on the bottom? 3. So how many do I have total? 9. And I said total because you're adding, right? So I can just say total. So it'd be 6 plus 3. Are the lessons making sense? You have to understand them. If it's sheer memorization, this unit's going to be difficult because they just tweak or twist something a little bit different. If you don't know, like, you have restrictions first that you can't repeat when it's letters, then if you're just memorizing, it's not going to work. Okay, do you understand? Does this make sense, what I was doing? Okay. We're going to look at example 8, and then we're going to get textbooks. Okay, so here it says the telephone numbers allocated to subscribers in a rural area consist of one of the following. Now, do not fight them and be like, this is not how phone numbers work. So I'm going to follow real phone numbers, because you are fake ones here. No, like, you have to just do what they do, okay? It may not make sense to you. It might be a 5-digit number, and you'd be like, well, this is crap. This isn't a number. Who cares? Do what they say, okay? It could be in the land of Malala. Like, if they can make up a land. That's really bad. I couldn't even think of anything better than Malala. Yeah, I had one smile. Thank you. A little bit of a laugh. You guys could at least laugh for, like, feeling bad for me. Okay? We can do that next time. Okay. Like, ah! So let's practice fake laughing. Aha! No. All right. We have the digits 3, 4, 5. So we could show that as 3 blanks, correct? And put a 1 on top of each one. Or we could show it as 1 blank and put a 1 on top of it. Because 3, 4, 5 would be one option, or 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 1. Right? It still results in a 1. It doesn't matter which route you go. Those are correct. I do it as 3 different digits, but I have 3, 4, 5. Followed by any 3 further digits. Are there any restrictions on these babies? Does it say I can't repeat? No. So these could be 0 to 9. And then here it says, or, because we're doing a new case. So what do we have to make sure we do? Or we add, we multiply. And add too much to get alike that they don't do. And then the digit 2. Oh my gosh. Digit 2, followed by any of the digits 1 to 5, followed by any 3 further digits. What am I forgetting? And I did this to prove a point. All the dots. You have to remember the dots. If you don't have the dots, if you have this, equals something, that's actually the number 6,798 equals another number. That's not even a true statement, right? If you don't have the multiplication dots, you have 6,798. That's what you would have. That would be the number you would have, right? So you have to remember the dots. Does that make sense? If not, it's just literally a number. Okay. So I have 3, which is one option, 4, which is one option, 5, which is one option, 0 to 9 is 10 options, 0 to 9 is 10 options, 0 to 9 is 10 options. This is not the number I'm keeping there, that's the number of options every single time. The number above is the number of options. If I can get you to figure that out, this unit is easy. If you don't figure that out, this unit, you will be in the boat I was in grade 12. It's a scary boat. You don't want to be in it. You want to get off that boat. You want to get on this boat. Okay. So I have 1,000 plus 1, 5, 10, 10. Why am I not boxing? Why am I not boxing and holding? Yeah.
Because you are allowed to repeat.
I'm allowed to repeat anything. You only box and hold when you can't repeat. So when it said you can't repeat, you box and hold, or if it's a word, you box and hold. Every time it's a word, you box and hold, because you only have what you have. It's a Scrabble tile. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you down here. These are the questions that are going to be your homework. They're questions to try. You'll see it. It's embedded in your notes. It's only for this unit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then when you get to the bottom here, this is where the answers are to check it. People are like, but if the answers are there, why do I have to do it? And then I just look at you with sheer shame. Like, because you don't, that's just an answer. And they're like, why do they have the answers? I'm like, because then you know you're right. It's quite a comical thing. It's usually a grade 10 comment. But you guys won't, because you're like, dude, I get it. I'm going to check it. So also, when you're done your work, you check your answers, right? You don't just assume you're just blessed with all the knowledge and have them all right without looking, okay? So we're going to go get textbooks, and you're going to come back and work on this. What I would suggest before you start working on this is take that 5 minutes and write down those things in your booklet or on your little sheet of all the little reminders, right? At the end of the unit, I'm going to check and see that you guys are actually doing that. So make sure you do that.